Hello, and welcome to the first of two videos introducing the Playing to Win system ahead of our strategy work together. Before going through this video, please watch the short Playing to Win YouTube clip featuring Roger Martin. Now I'll start by introducing myself so you have context on how I approach strategy. My career is one of scaling technology startups, leading corporate innovation and change, and leading large customer service and partnership teams. For 5 years now, I've focused on independent strategy-led advisory, helping private, public, and social sector organizations solve hard problems and grow prosperously, which often requires crafting renewed or entirely reimagined strategies. But to be clear, my role in our work together is that of facilitator. You are the experts about your customers, your industry, and your organization. And that's important because our goal is not to build a generic strategy. It's to build a strategy that is purpose-built to help your organization achieve its aspirations. Now, over the years, I'm sure you've encountered different strategy frameworks. So in this video, I want to introduce you to the Playing to Win system. In this video, I'll cover a very brief overview of our path to modern strategy. I'll talk about the important differences between what is strategic planning and what is at the heart of good strategy. And then we'll learn about playing to win as a method for developing a winning strategy, which will continue in video 2. It was about the early 1900s that the first companies started adopting business management practices that focused on efficiency, productivity, and structure. This was all really about execution, or doing things right. As competition increased over time, doing things right was no longer sufficient. Leaders also needed to focus on making the right choices in a competitive environment. Since the 1980s, we've come back to a more holistic view of strategy, encapsulating concepts like vision, mission, and values, customers, competition, and business models. We also have many competing strategy philosophies and frameworks these days, and unfortunately, some of those methods add more complexity than value. Methods aside, we usually end up with roughly the same outcomes of a pyramid-shaped strategic plan. And if you're used to making strategic plans, you're in good company. A planning approach is still used in the vast majority of organizations, and there are some simple reasons it's so common. A planning approach in pyramid seems logical and organized. It feels like strategy. I think it's also a bit of human nature to enjoy making lists. And it's comfortable because it focuses on what we can control, our own activities and inputs. It's how I did strategy for most of my career. However, most plans end up as long to-do lists, which creates a number of challenges. On what basis did we prioritize specific initiatives and not others? Among our chosen initiatives, do we understand which ones are likely to have the greatest impact? Do our choices actually work well together? Or are some of our initiatives actually substitutes or even competing with each other? And how many of these projects can we realistically get done when we consider our experience, skills, and available bandwidth? If we're being honest, how often does having a balanced pyramid lead to extra low-value projects being added in? By not solving clarity, alignment, and capacity problems proactively within strategy development, we're left to deal with them operationally. Now let me ask you this. How often in a day do you think about what is the next most important thing for me to be working on? Consciously and subconsciously, we do this all day. And think about it. Every person in your organization is also doing this every day. Too often, very full plans reinforce behaviors like issue triage, promotes high switching costs from constantly moving between tasks, and a lack of time dedicated to learning, reflecting, and improving. Whenever our team members wonder what to do next, our strategy should help them make the best decisions. We also want our team members coming in every day knowing that what they do matters, having a clear connection to purpose. Did you know that burnout is not caused by stress alone? Burnout is the result of stress and a weak purpose connection. Long to-do lists don't solve any of these problems. And finally, planning challenges show up externally as well. Even if we don't declare a strategy, our internal and external stakeholders will define our strategy by what they see us do operationally. We want to be consistent so that all of our customers and partners easily understand our unique value. It must be so clear that it's obvious. Now, sometimes organizations choose to have their strategy articulated in both a playing to win cascade and a traditional pyramid. Roger and I agree, that's okay, but only if we build a winning strategy first. So what then is strategy? There are 3 core principles of strategy in playing to win. The first principle is that strategy is about making explicit choices. Choices about what to do and choices about what not to do. When we fail to make choices, we are trying to be all things to all people, which usually ends up with mediocre results. The playing to win process will guide us to make clear choices. Second, a perfect strategy does not exist. Even if it's perfect for a brief moment, strategy has to be continuously adapted, reflecting the changing world and the combined actions of many players in a given market. Strategy is simply about increasing the odds of success. The playing to win process helps us generate, think through, and test strategic possibilities, increasing our confidence in the choices that we ultimately make. The third principle is that strategy development is both creative and scientific. We need to be creative to explore new and unconventional ideas. The scientific element of the process is that an idea is first really a hypothesis, and we need to consider and test the conditions that would have to be true for a given strategy to be successful. The playing to win process helps us diverge to explore and then converge to decide. Now, Roger stuck to a rule of 3 in his original book, but I have extracted 3 more from the equivalent of almost 7 books that he's blogged since writing Playing to Win. Principle number 4 is that strategy is what we do, not what we say. There is sometimes a temptation to start the strategic process from scratch, as if we don't have a current strategy, or we have a plan but it lives on a shelf. Any organization that has operated for more than a year has a strategy, even if it's not written down. It would be a failure not to consider insights that can be gained from our current strategy and its current results. It would also be a failure if we assume that continuing with our current strategy would be without risk. The playing to win process will help us evaluate and challenge our current strategy. Number 5, strategy must be coherent and doable. We want to avoid building a plan that exceeds available resources. The playing to win process will help us articulate a coherent and reinforcing set of choices that are realistic to achieve with what is or could be available to us. Number 6, and most importantly, strategy is about our customers, which means we're not deceiving ourselves by focusing on us and the activities and inputs that we control. Instead, we're focused on our actual customers, and we accept that we can influence our desired outcomes, not control them. The playing to win process will guide us through real strategy work, and by design, it will be at times uncomfortable. I challenge you to embrace the productive tension of discomfort to unlock new insights and exciting possibilities. So what does better look like? Together we'll build a strategy that is about our customers, a strategy that is easy to understand and has clear choices, choices that will move us toward our aspiration, choices that don't conflict, but rather choices that are additive and stronger when made together. Choices that include capabilities and management systems that we need to execute successfully, and choices that are helpful to both guide strategic challenges as well as daily operational decisions. And finally, we'll build a strategy that will be useful to you when you encounter new challenges. It should help you understand obstacles between your goals and your results, and as needed, adjust your strategic choices to improve those results. These are all characteristics built into the playing to win model. But what does it mean to be playing to win? Well, to win, we need to move away from simply serving a customer segment and to winning with our customers, from using internal benchmarks to set targets and measure progress to an external benchmark of who we're winning against, from being vague to articulating specific outcomes that we can later measure and to which we can hold ourselves accountable. We should be playing to win, because if we don't try to win, our chances of accidentally doing so are very low. An aspiration that is too conservative is much more dangerous than an aspiration that is too ambitious. The strategy cascade itself is an important gap fit tool that we use to build and test a playing to win strategy. We'll use the strategy cascade to understand the strategies of our competitors, to better understand our own strategy and the space between our current results and what we want to achieve, and to articulate and test the logic of strategic possibilities we may pursue going forward, testing them to see if they are compelling, coherent, and achievable. The strategy cascade is 5 interconnected and reinforcing choices. A winning aspiration is a future-oriented statement. It's your purpose, why you exist, and what you stand for, which should be more than making money. And it's a statement of your goals. What does it mean to win with your customers? Ultimately, it expresses the value you create for your customers. Next is choosing our playing field. Where do we compete? What customers, channels, products, and services, and geographies do we serve? In my cascades, you'll see that I often add an extra box to help call out specific places we're choosing not to compete. Once we've chosen our playing field, our how to win choices determine what we will do on that playing field. Specifically, how can we leverage our competitive advantages, and how will we choose to compete? Critical capabilities support our where to play and how to win choices. What are the activities we need to be really great at doing to successfully execute on our aspiration and strategic choices? This does not mean we're listing every capability that we need to operate. It means investing asymmetrically in the ones that matter most. This also doesn't mean focusing on one capability to offer a competitive advantage. We're striving for a combination of capabilities that our competitors either can't or won't match. And finally, the management systems we prioritize are our checks and balances to ensure that we build and strengthen key capabilities over time. It will also allow us to monitor progress and measure outcomes. Management systems are things like customer relationship management or performance and incentive management processes. The last thing I want to say about the strategy cascade is that we actually start in the middle. A strong where to play choice is only valuable if we support it with a robust and actionable how to win choice. The two reinforce each other to create a distinctive combination. Roger calls these two choices the heart of strategy. For our chosen customers, we need to focus on how do we deliver as much value as possible. In doing so, a challenge for every organization is scope creep. Trying to do more things because you can, not because it strengthens your how to win. Imagine the resources we can free up by making more intentional choices of what not to do going forward. Working out from the middle of the cascade, asking what would have to be true is a very important question. In the cascade, we use this question to develop a winning aspiration and to delineate critical capabilities and systems. That's just about all for this video. Now that we've covered the strategy cascade, in the next video, we'll cover the playing to win process that guides us to better strategy development step by step. And I'll walk through a number of real-world examples of strategy cascades. In the next video, we'll also talk more about how the playing to win strategy process is different than typical strategic planning. A planning-based process is usually 3 steps. Upfront company and market analysis, then planning, and then execution. This is where research and planning can provide us with false confidence and cause us a lot of pain when we eventually test drive our plan in the real world. Playing to win looks more like design thinking or a user-centered design process. In the playing to win process, we explore compelling theories for a successful strategy up front, and then subject each hypothesis to evaluation through reverse engineering, so that we only need to test conditions that will really matter in making strategy choices. Of course, it's never going to look quite this perfect, but the playing to win process will help us spot and fix gaps sooner and better, both within the process and in the real world. But that's all for now. Remember that you can refer to this video again whenever you want. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to support you. And when you're ready, I'll see you in the next video.